Ayo, and what is up, gang? Thank you so much for joining me here on the channel again today as we resume our continuing coverage of the Mae Young Classic. 6 episodes are in the books. We got 2 episodes left. Today we focus on episode number 7, and we are going to talk about all of it right here and right now, like we always do on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. So, let's do this, baby.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much once again for joining us here at Sledgehammer TV. My name is Nick Nightmare. This, as always, is my boy Blue, the world heavyweight champion of microphones, and we are here at the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show to talk about the Mae Young Classic. Now, before we get into episode number 7, if you have not watched my review of episode number 6, you are in luck, because much of the same complaints that I had in that episode are going to be echoed again in this one, but we are going to try our best to not go off on it too much. If you're really interested to see what I think about Miss Shayna Baszler, you can go and watch episode number 6 right here on the channel live when you're done watching this, or you can listen to what I have to say coming up as we talk about the rest of this tournament. But episode number 7 was a fairly decent episode. We had some good matches, but the winners and losers would make me very, very unhappy, as my primal fear, as we have been over and over and over on this channel, are coming to reality, as all of the MMA-styled women are advancing much further than they should have, and the agenda has never been looking more clear, as it is more and more when we go through these episodes. Let's get started with episode number 7, because we can get right to that point right off the bat. Abby Laith versus Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez, by far the 16-year pro. She's a veteran, all this stuff they want to tout about her. She's obviously highly looked upon in management. She's been one of the focal points. She's got a great video package. She's got a good story. But she just doesn't look good in the ring to me. Maybe it's just my eyes. Maybe I view wrestling differently from you. I just don't get a sense that this girl is good at wrestling. Abby Laith is great at wrestling. She gets pro wrestling from nuts to bolts, man. She understands every single inside and out of this business. That is what should be rewarded in this tournament, but it is not. What is being rewarded is something to further an idea that they have and to broaden the angle of the 4 horsewomen as we continue on with the Mae Young Classic. Abby Laith was on the defensive for most of this match to the bigger, stronger Martinez, but she was very, very repetitive with her kicking style moveset and relying heavily on elbows and fists and just lots of strikes and suplexes, but everything she did was very, very sloppy, but effective. Very boring, too, but effective. But the scrappy Laith would just not lay down, and she took one hell of a beating. She also executed 2 highlights of this match, an absolutely breathtaking top rope splash to the outside. Absolutely beautiful, putting her body at risk, putting it all on the line to advance in this Mae Young Classic, but she just couldn't get it done. Gets her back into the ring and executes an absolutely beautiful bridging German suplex, but could not keep her down for the 3. Abby Laith, obviously frustrated in the whole situation, goes for that Mae Young-inspired alligator roll-up, but Mercedes Martinez would dodge out of the way and end up hitting her with that Fisherman's Buster suplex that doesn't ever look pretty when she does it. That's her finishing signature maneuver. She doesn't even pull that off smoothly and nicely. But she will advance in this tournament, and this is a theme we are about to talk about that is going to be repeated quite a few times here by me. And in this scenario, the more dynamic, the more unique, the more talented superstar lost here. The superstar that is much more suited to go further in this tournament was taken out for reasons we will get into again later. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. 16 years of experience, and I only seen one wrestling move from Mercedes Martinez. And that is not impressive to me. And it's only more proof that everything that I'm saying is true. This would also never be more evident in the case of Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler. Now, at the risk of going off on a hateful tangent, I'm going to do my very best to rein it in. I'm not sure how much hate is written in these notes here, but we're going to go over this match right now. But to be fair, not that this is anything really great to tout about, Shayna Baszler has the best song in this tournament. She's got the best entrance theme of all the ladies. Now, unless you like pirate music, in which case you probably dig Kairi Sane's little piratey jingle, which is cool. It's got like a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of feel to it, and it's got a thing to it. If you like that sort of thing, which I kind of do. But Shayna Baszler's got the best theme song. What she doesn't have is the best talent in this thing, nor does she seem to have the conditioning to go very long in the ring. I just don't understand. All right, tangent's going to start, so let's stop. Huge mismatch of size here. Obviously, Baszler starts off with more of her lazy striking and that stupid biff kick that she does. For those of you who may not be from New York or don't know what a biff is, it's not just this guy that lives down the street and works at the auto shop in your local neighborhood. That might be biff too. But biff is like when you get slapped in the forehead really like you're stupid and it's just like biff. That's the best way I could describe it to those of you who may not be familiar with the term of biff. But that's what she's doing with her feet. She's biffing her opponents, and I just can't stand it. It doesn't look like it hurts. It looks like more of an annoyance than anything. She doesn't look like she's got anything behind it, whether she's delivering it to the thigh or to the forehead or to the arm or to the body. It just looks lackluster and lazy, and I don't like it. I hate her style so much. That's actually written here, so I'm saying it. I'm not just going off. However, Mrs. Gargano would strike and strike hot as she would deliver a fucking crazy tope suicida DDT through the ropes to the outside, crashing Shayna Baszler down into the steel ramp. However, even here, Baszler kind of botches this spot, and I don't know if it's because she's too strong or too big or too solid, but when Candice tried to swing her around to execute the DDT part of this maneuver, it just seemed like Baszler's body didn't go with the flow, and it kind of landed a little bit awkwardly. But we're not going to nitpick. That's how it came across to me. Candice LeRae would also lock Shayna Baszler, once they returned to the inside of the ring, into an absolutely beautiful octopus stretch. Shayna Baszler would go on to try to counter this, only to end up in some sort of a cross-face chicken wing type of maneuver. Candice LeRae wrenching with all her might, but just could not get the bigger, freakish woman to tap out. Baszler would overpower her and lift her off the mat with ease and hit her with a sloppy, dropping side slam. Both of them would end up going to the top rope. And Candice LeRae would be looking to hit Miss LeRae's Wild Ride. And now she goes to execute the move. As we've said in Shayna Baszler's previous matches, out of nowhere, Randy Orton style, she locks in this rear naked choke, chokes the life out of Candice LeRae, and then after the referee calls for the bell, would not let go of the hold. So the WWE obviously is realizing the heat Baszler's getting, and they're going with it. If this was originally what was intended, then, fine, it's working. But to do this to Candice LeRae, you're furthering a storyline within a tournament that doesn't need to be furthered. Like, this is not the time for story. This is a tournament. Tournaments are made to be special. It's supposed to happen once in a lifetime, and whatever happens in the tournament doesn't usually translate to what's going on into the main storylines. It's completely separate, just like it was with the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and it was with the Cruiserweight Classic. It stands alone on its own merit. It's going to have no future ramifications on the main roster or the future of the company as a whole, except for the possibility of signing some new talent. That's what this is supposed to be. This isn't supposed to be fuel for the fire for some bigger-than-life storyline between 4 horsewomen factions. But that's what we're getting here. They got me and everybody else to hate her even more by doing this, especially to somebody who is as beloved as Candice LeRae, who is also the wife of Johnny Gargano, who everybody in the world loves. I don't think I've met any person ever, anywhere, that doesn't like Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling. Again, the opposite results here would have been better. I just don't see how in the next round, given the first 2 matches that we've seen in episode 7, Shayna Baszler and Mercedes Martinez are going to have a really shit match. I just can't see it being good. I don't care what their backstory is. I don't care that they know each other, that one's a mentor for the other. I don't care. None of that matters because you didn't make that the priority. If you wanted to highlight this story and all this shit, this should have been a first round match. And get rid of one of these two because they're exactly the same. Having them both go to the semifinals only to face each other with this almost non-existent storyline because you really haven't said much about it. You've hinted at it. I'm sure you'll play it up for what it's worth in the next episode to make it seem bigger than it is. And this match is not going to deliver. It's just not. I feel it in my bones. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if we would have had Abby Laith versus Candice LeRae, there's a semifinals match. Those are 2 world-class, top-notch professional wrestling women. Not to take anything away from the other 2. Listen, I'm sure that they're qualified. I'm sure that they're talented in their own rights. But this was not the time to showcase this talent and put them over so highly. This is a wrestling tournament full of independent superstars, and these were the names that should be in the finals. These 2 girls, Abby Laith versus Candice LeRae, would have been a great wrestling match. What we are going to see in episode 8, I'm sure, out of these 2, Martinez and Baszler, is going to be an MMA exhibition, and it's going to bore the shit out of all of us. Guarantee you, mark my words. I think I did very well about not going off. If you want to hear me go off even further, like I said, episode number 6, you'll get my full rundown on really how I feel about Shayna Baszler. The next match, however, would be an absolute delight. Piper Niven, one of my all-new favorite women that I've ever seen in the ring, going up against Toni Storm, who honestly, up until this point, hasn't really impressed me. She's got a great look. She's got a good song. I love the little top hat. The little, football makeup she's got going on. The hard rock LA scene thing. She's got a great look, a great gimmick. I really dig the package. And she's got some good moves. And she looks like a superstar. But I had not seen anything overly to impress me out of this girl. And this was another match with a huge contrast in style and size, and it opened up with some really great chain wrestling out of these 2 girls, which was not expected. Storm and Niven at one point were locked up by the hands and they were rolling around on the ground, and they ended up both on their backs, still with their hands locked. And the referee, since all 4 shoulders were to the mat, would go down excellently to do her job and count to 3. But before the 3, both girls would bridge themselves out on their heads without leaving. It was fucking great. It's hard to even describe. They were both almost like Bray Wyatt. He does his little backwards thing. They did that to each other. And were face to face in that position and decided to shake hands. It was fucking great. It gave me goosebumps, something I had never seen before, and I was greatly, greatly impressed by it as I knocked little Ted down. Did you You see him go down? Poor little DiBiase. I'm sorry, $1 Million Man. That wasn't very money-like. Is that even a word? Money-like? Let's get them out of the way here. Let's get back to business. After that awesome double bridge spot in the shaking hands. Very, very cool. The time for fun and games was over as these two would just go at it. And Piper Niven would dominate this match. But Toni Storm made her look great, and she looked great herself. You were really, finally in this match, able to see the talent that this girl possesses. The match that she was able to put on with the bigger girl, both of these girls have wrestling psychology down. They understood how to wrestle this match and wrestle each other. I would be shocked if it's the first time they've ever touched. It was almost that natural. Their chemistry together was fucking great. Piper Niven would try to stay on top of the smaller, littler Toni Storm, just wearing her down, keeping her weight on top of her, trying to suck the wind out of her. She would hit Toni Storm with 2 big, massive splashes, a running senton. It was just, she was hitting her with everything she had, and then she was looking to finish her off with the Michinoku driver, but Toni Storm would escape and start to gain momentum in this match and would get Piper Niven on the ropes on a few occasions. But Piper would come back and have one last ditch effort and try to win this match. She would finally hit that Michinoku driver she was looking for, but Toni Storm would kick out of her finishing move. Obviously, frustrated by this, she picks her up and throws her into the corner with all her might and then hits her with that rolling cannonball, KO style. And gets very emotional and knows she has to do whatever she can to finish her off, and she goes up to the top rope to execute the Piper Niven style Vader bomb. Toni Storm would spring up to her feet, grab that massive woman and powerbomb her. I'm sorry, German suplexes her. Why is that powerbomb here? I don't know. She grabbed her by the waist, threw her backwards off the turnbuckle, German suplexes her off the turnbuckle, and then would follow up with a beautiful top rope leg drop. The first great match I've seen Toni Storm have. The third consecutive great match I've seen for Piper Niven. But Toni Storm would move on in this match. Piper Niven needs to be signed right away, thrown into NXT, and start making some history. She is fucking fantastic. The same can be said for Toni Storm, who is the first person to enter the Final Four that has my approval to be in the Final Four. She is fucking great, and I think there's big things ahead for Toni Storm. The same can be said for Piper Niven. They would be stupid not to sign her. She is a mega star, and not just because she's a big girl. So stop that shit. I don't even want to hear it. Size does not matter in pro wrestling. Anybody who's anybody can know that. What matters is what you bring to the ring. And what she brings is a whole lot of fucking talent. And I can't wait to see more of it. After this, we would get treated to the more of the push of the agenda. In case you thought I was lying, we would get a segment. They filmed a backstage segment that we would air on WWE.com exclusively. Exclusive on WWE.com, but we're still going to show it on the show. So it's not technically an exclusive, is it? The Horsewomen face off. You got Ronda Rousey and her 2 little minions, whatever their fucking names are. They go face to face with Charlotte, Becky, and Bayley in the back. Ronda Rousey's like, listen, name the time and the place. We'll be waiting for you when you're ready. Cares. Right now, I don't care. Right now, I only wanted to care about the Mae Young Classic. If you were doing this on Raw, epic. You're doing this on the Mae Young Classic. You're taking the focus away from the tournament and putting it here throughout the entirety of this fucking tournament. And it's making me nauseous. And it's making me not want to see it because you're ruining something that I thought was going to be very special. And you're making it about something that it's not. Something you could just as easily launch any fucking time, anywhere, on any one of your other shows. And it would actually be bigger. And it would have been seen nationwide without having to be a WWE.com exclusive. The fuck out of here with this. Let's get back to the tournament, please. Just like we will right now with the fucking best match I have seen so far. Santana Garrett and Piper Niven, everything that Piper Niven was in so far has been like the best match. But this match really got me going. This was an extremely physical contest. Kairi Sane versus Dakota Kai for the final spot in the final four of the semifinals. And that might be the most times I've ever said the word final in one sentence. These two were very evenly matched. They were almost like a mirror image of one another. It was crazy to watch. And this match to me had a very New Japan feel. Very strong style to it. Lots of knees and strikes. But they were effective knees and strikes. And running knees and strikes. And these girls didn't get exhausted and gassed after doing it because they're used to doing it. Because they're real professional wrestlers. You could see the toll that this match took on both of these girls. They beat the hell out of each other for such a long amount of time. The exhaustion with them was unbelievable. Absolutely one of the hardest fought matches I had seen in the tournament up until this point. Dakota Kai, like I said, fucking awesome. She put up one hell of a fight, but there is no way she was beating Kairi Sane. And she would deliver that elegant, earth-shaking elbow from the top rope. A fucking thing of beauty. I don't think anybody's ever delivered a top rope elbow better than this girl. And I don't know if it's because of how limber she looks or the way her legs flail in the air and it just looks like she's getting maximum impact on it. It's just fucking beautiful. Kairi Sane is amazing. Dakota Kai is amazing. This was a great match. When I can't really sit there and take notes and give you a play-by-play, that's when I know I really saw a great match. Because I was so into the match that I could not look away to take notes. And I don't have the time to go back and watch it again and sit there and really take notes on a secondary viewing because, hey, everybody's got a limited amount of time, right? We only got one life to live and we got to keep shit moving. And it's bad enough that I have to do this the way I'm doing it right now. I really wish they would have done this the way they did the Cruiserweight Classic. It would have just been much easier on all of us. I know some of us are already echoing this sentiment out there besides myself. It's just, it's too much. Like, this week was fucking brutal, guys. Like, between the Raw review and the SmackDown review and then getting all 4 episodes up and then 5 and 6 for the Mae Young Classic review. I haven't even done a breaking news. And there's been some breaking news. Nothing really fucking earth-shattering that we need to talk about. But it's out there. But I can't bring it to you because we're full of wrestling stuff right now with this Mae Young Classic. Which has now set up its Final 4. Shayna Baszler versus Mercedes Martinez. And Toni Storm versus Kairi Sane. Which I said in my preview of this thing, before it even dropped on the network, that match could have been booked to be the finals of this. Both of these girls were the most highly anticipated girls to come into this thing. The WWE machine put everything they had behind them throughout the entirety of this tournament. They got the most hype, the most press. This should definitely be the finals. But it's going to be in the semifinals. And I'm telling you right now, this match is going to steal the show. This may end up being the match of the whole entire tournament. Because regardless who wins, Kairi Sane or Toni Storm, they're going to end up going against Shayna Baszler. And I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. And it's just making me feel more and more like Shayna Baszler is the Roman Reigns of the Mae Young Classic. Nobody wants to see her win this thing. But the WWE's got a plan. And we're going to execute that plan. Even if these guys hate it. Nonetheless, that, in a nutshell, was episode number 7. We got episode number 8 to watch. We are going to finish this thing off. Episode 8 review will be up later on today, I promise. And we are going to wrap this up waiting in anticipation as September the 12th and the live finale show rapidly approaches. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Before you leave this page, do not forget to smash that thumbs up. Give us a like. Let us know that you enjoyed the show and you like what we're doing here. If you are not a member of the Sledgehammer Club, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Ding-a-ding-ding, that notification bell, so that you will always be up to date and abreast of as soon as one of these videos hits the airwaves. I just wanted to say that word, abreast, because, I like breasts. So I like saying the word. And also, do not forget to check out our sponsor right here, Clutch Chairs. The link is down in the description below. All you got to do is click that link. That's it. Click it. Look at the page. Go, hey, look, a chair. There's an AJ chair. There's a Sasha chair. Beautiful chairs. Goodbye, chairs. And you've helped the show. So thank you so much. And don't forget to do all that for me. I just cracked myself up with that stupid little thing there. I'm sorry for that. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball Microphone. Thanking you all once again for joining us here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. That is going to do it. And we are out of here. And we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, which I already said twice. I've been doing too many of these this week. And I'll see you for another one very soon. Have a good one.